Khan Shalom. All praise and glory go to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakah, Apostle Ramlab, and the Shalom to all the sincere Achim that are pushing this word in sincerity and in truth. Before I continue, I want to say that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the children of Israel that the Bible speaks about, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the chosen people of the Heavenly Father. And with that being said, these videos are made to wake up our people, to lead them back to the Heavenly Father, because judgment is being passed upon our planet Earth. The Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the children of Israel that the Bible speaks about, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the people that live in the land of Israel today. They go back to the Khazarians, which go back to the Amalekites, which is the head tribe of the nation of Esau, Edom, and the people that call themselves white, European, Caucasian, Australian, or American, they all go back to the nation of Esau, Edom as well, from their father's side, that is. So I have some information that I didn't know before, but of course I did expect something like this being the case. It says, did you know Ramzan fasting was a pre-Islamic practice? And the whole thing concerning Ramadan nowadays, which is the month that they be fasting, the Muslims, is actually a pre-Islamic, is of pre-Islamic origin. It wasn't called Ramadan neither before, I believe even it's not how do you say that? Since 2015, basically, they say it has been named Ramadan, but before that it was Ramzan. So yeah. Anyway, let's go to the story. It says over here, the reason I'm going into this is because I was into reading Matthew 6, and it shows you that you shouldn't be fasting as the hypocrites do. And I was thinking about fasting more often because I was discussing with Achim that I didn't fast that much last year. So this year I wanted to fast more because this is the new year, of course, for us. And there are new things, man, happening. New, it's new year, so new plans, man, Come. So it says over here, the observance of the holy month of Ramzan is an important element of Islamic religious practice. However, not many know that the concept of fasting in Ramadan as month of abstinence is actually pre-Islamic. Sahapedia traces the history and development of Ramzan as a religious practice. In pic, Ramzan prayers at Yama Masjid, Delhi. Photo courtesy Baldiri. The holy month of Ramzan is one of the most important observances by the followers of Islam across the world. The 9th month of the Islamic calendar is characterized by fasting, praying, and giving zakat. However, the observance of a month of fasting and abstinence is actually a pre-Islamic practice in Arabia that was adopted, continued, and tweaked from 622 AD onwards. That is when so-called Prophet Muhammad institutionalized this fast through a passage in the Quran. In fact, the mention of fasting in the Quran refers to it as a pre-existing practice. This would also indicate why there is a constant debate regarding the spelling of Ramzan with a A-Z, as it is known in India. So you have, this is just basically material to cut these Ishmaelites, man, when they come up with their Islam thing, Then you can cut them with these type of things, because they like to come and say that the Bible has been changed and this and that. Meanwhile, the word Ramadan itself is not the original word that they used to use, and a lot of their practices come from pre-Islamic ways, man. Also, the 5 times a day is something that they have from the Zoroastrians, which is Persian mythology, and they the Qibla is basically the wall that directs you towards the southeast, Anyway, Ramadan, since that is the pronunciation of the word in the Quran, Delhi-based writer Rana Safi said in 2015. But as a child growing up in Lucknow, it was always called Ramzan. This is a completely new thing. Ramadan literally means intense heat, indicative of the summer month to which it was originally ascribed. But with the adoption of the lunar Islamic calendar in the 7th century, which the Israelites used to always follow, the lunar calendar, the month keeps shifting all through the year. Ramadan in pre-Islamic Arabia in Studies in Islamic History and Institutions, while tracing the history and development of Ramzan, as the Goitin writes about how pre-Islamic Arabs were familiar with the idea of holy months as well as with fasting. Certain passages in the Quran and some Muslim oral traditions make it likely that even the practice of fasting during a whole month was known to the ancient Arabs. Such oral traditions mention a month of peace and truce between warring tribes in the Arab region, as indicated by historians such as Farzana, Moon in No Islam but Islam. According to the Gotin, holy months are attested to in the Quran, which takes for granted that the prohibition of fighting for the time of their duration was valid in Islam as it was in paganism. Okay, again, let me read that again, man. According to Gotin, holy months are attested to in the Quran, which takes for granted that the prohibition of fighting for the time of their duration was as valid in Islam as it was in paganism. So in paganism, they also had a month of a time that no Arabs would fight each other. Okay, which is a good thing, but it's still paganism, and it still shows you that all the gods of the heathen are idols, man. You see, poetry and Salakia. Many trustworthy references to them are found in pre-Islamic poetry and in the ancient traditions. This institution, however, later became obsolete in Islam, since war between Muslims was and continues to be theoretically prohibited altogether. Ramzan, some lesser known practices and rituals. The month of Ramzan gained specific prominence since Muhammad recorded that he started receiving the revelations of Quran, right, during this month, August 610 AD of the Gregorian calendar. While the month is clearly mentioned, the actual date is unclear. The timing of this initial revelation is given special significance as the night of power. We have revealed it, Quran, in the night of power. And what will explain to you what the night of power is? The night of power is better than 1,000 months. Okay, fasting during Ramzan. The idea of fasting existed in pre-Islamic Arabia. So did the notion of fasting as atonement for sins. The Quran mentions that those who cannot go to Mecca due to illness should redeem themselves by fasting, or if an oath is broken, then abstinence from food for 2 months was written. Muhammad too must have kept fasts while in Mecca, but things changed upon his move to Medina, where his arrival in September 622 AD coincided with the Jewish Day of Atonement. Let me read that again. Listen real carefully, man. All these nations, the only thing they have is copying things from the Israelites, man. Because we are the salt of the earth. We have the truth, man. Now people want to bastardize and take our truth and make it into something of theirs, man. They copy a lot of things of ours. Muhammad too must have kept fasts while in Mecca, but things changed upon his move to Medina, where his arrival in September 622 AD coincided with the Jewish Day of Atonement. This was the day, so the Day of Atonement is the day that we fast for the remission of sins, right? This was the day when Moses had descended from Mount Sinai with the new tables from the Most High. Okay, in Medina, Muhammad learned of the significance of this day as well as the story of Moses' stay on Mount Sinai during 30 plus 10 days, his receiving of the Torah, and the intercession of the children of Israel, which forms a main topic in Surah 2, the same that contains a passage about the introduction of the Ramadan. Writes Goitin, the Quran says, "You who believe fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may be mindful of the Most High." Quran 2:183. In Medina, the Prophet also found a large monotheistic community which fasted as an act of piety, he initially instituted a fast for a few days, presumably 10, which continued as the itikaf, the 10 days of seclusion during Ramzan. This was later stretched to a month, since that was a unit of period of holiness most familiar to the Arabs. So he saw that it was important for us, then he mixed it with his paganism because he could drag these Arabs also into it. Okay? Political elites and Sufis 13. Some also combine this to include the Jewish 10 days of penance, culminating in the Day of Atonement, also called Ashura, meaning the 10th, in Hebrew Aramaic, which also falls during Ramzan. Over time, the practice is said to have resulted in the 3 stages of observing Ramzan, each stage comprising 10 days. The first, seeking mercy, the second, asking for forgiveness, and the last, during which the most devout practice, itikaf, represents safety from the fire of hell. When Ramadan comes, the gates of heaven or paradise are opened and the gates of hell are closed, and the Satans are chained, as translated from Bukhari, the most widely accepted collection of hadith. Thus, the current observance of Ramzan by Muslims around the world includes elements that were assimilated over the time in Islamic practice. However, the concept of abstinence during the month of Ramzan definitely predates the institutionalization of the religion itself. Okay? Then it's easy work, man. Again, you see? So these nations, they don't have nothing. If it wasn't for the Israelites, they would still... Let me just say nothing, man. Matthew 6:1. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men, to be seen of them, otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men, which the Muslims do as well. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. So yeah, with that, I'm going to say all praises and glory go to the Most High, Yahweh Shalom Achem. So this shows you all these nations have nothing, man. If it wasn't for the Israelites, they wouldn't have nothing. All these things that they have that is seen as so-called holy, if you go into the history, a lot of things is inspired by the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We're trendsetters in fashion, trendsetters in religion, and in whatever, man. You know? So with that, Shalom Achem.